Um, so the first thing is Ms. Lisa Shields, the Livonia Pound volunteer. I will read my prepared statement at this time. I have heard and read all of your comments on the dismissal of Ms. Lisa Shields. Please be aware that we all know and totally appreciate the time and effort that Ms. Shields has given to Livonia Pound. Ms. Shields was told by hundreds of people, including the citizens of Livonia and the town employees, of a wonderful job she was doing in caring for the dogs and finding them a home. It was truly a blessing. Ms. Shields was told by the employees that it was not necessary or expected of her to spend her own money for caring for the dogs, as the town has funds allocated for this expense. Ms. Shields said she understood, but did not follow instructions. No matter if it's an employee or a volunteer, there are always rules and regulations that follow whether we think it's the correct way or not. It became an issue when our pound caretaker, Mr. Brian Bazron, was not able to do his job and was gradually pushed out by Ms. Shields. Mr. Bazron, a lifelong citizen of Livonia, has been a faithful and dedicated employee for many years. He takes pride in his duties and goes above and beyond what is expected of him as a pound caretaker. It was said in the media that he was afraid of losing his job. Mr. Bazron has a full-time job elsewhere. His wages here are 2 hours a day at a minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. This man is not concerned about $14.50 a day, I can assure you. Ms. Shields was kindly asked to refrain from feeding the dogs and washing the pens. Evidently, she took offense to our requests and began criticizing the town employees, myself, the people of Livonia on social media and public television, making herself the victim. This issue with the pound responsibilities could have been worked out, but the actions Ms. Shields took on social media by bashing this town is not acceptable. The town of Livonia has very dedicated and trustworthy employees. Some have been employed here for over 30 years. It is not professional for anyone, whether an employee or a volunteer, to represent the town by degrading the integrity and professionalism of the employees and myself, including the character of the citizens of Livonia, which Ms. Shields did. I am sorry that Ms. Shields' involvement with our pound has to end. But again, she has made poor decisions, and I will not allow her to represent our town. Let me assure you that the dogs will properly cared for. Let me assure you that dogs will be properly cared for as before, as well as our efforts in finding them a home, as opposed to being euthanized. This issue is not up for debate. My decision has been made. I suggest that you choose a spokesperson to make a comment that represents all of you. I am not going to hear but from one person on this matter. Ms. Shields, you have asked to be on the agenda. Either you or a spokesperson can speak for 5 minutes. Please come forward at this time.
I would like to thank the mayor, the council, for allowing me to speak. For you that don't know me, or my reputation, or my credentials, I have been in banking as an officer and manager for years, on an executive board of a chamber for 4 years. I have volunteered successfully at a Montgomery County animal shelter in Houston, Texas for 5 years prior to coming here. I volunteer and I'm on the board of the Point Capay Animal Shelter and continue to do so, and never had stopped that the whole time of helping Livonia. At the time of being here in Livonia for the past year, probably 27 dogs were saved by being adopted and put into homes and not have to be euthanized by my efforts of networking, transporting them to adoption events on my own, getting quite a few vetted, and just taking care of them. Was at the pound 7 days a week, sometimes an hour, sometimes more. With that said, that is my criterion, and I've had that whole track record of being able to work in such an environment and different entities of business. Everywhere we've lived before, I've never had an issue or any problems until I came to Livonia at the City Hall pound. And not even for almost a whole year, just till recent, the last time I asked for a meeting with the mayor. Because I was prior asking for a meeting for almost 8 months with the mayor, and always denied or just that it wouldn't benefit me to go talk to the mayor. What I would like to know, Mr. Mayor, is why you ban a volunteer with this type of background and a successful program.
This is not open for any discussions. Like I said, if we're not going to debate on this issue, you have the time was allotted for you, and again, I don't see any need for any discussion here tonight.
Well, to my knowledge, from the things, I guess the reasons you're not allowing me to volunteer, I thought everything was fine, especially for almost a year. I mean, we even did things outside of the town hall together.
You started here in February this year.
No, sir. I came here July or September, almost September 20th of last year. That's how I acquired my first foster, because he was set to be euthanized. So Miss Carroll allowed me to put him through her shelter as long as I committed to fostering him. So I do have a timeline if you'd like to see it. I have everything tracked down.
No.
Okay, and the meeting I finally had with you after trying to get one for almost 8 months, and that meeting I wanted originally was just to introduce myself. Being here almost a year, I never even had the chance to meet you or to tell you the success of program that's been going on and show you the dogs that have been saved and maybe share my ideas of experience bringing them from another area for doing it for so long with the background. I never was able to have that, and in the meeting I finally had with you that Friday, I thought it was more of a personal attack on me instead of a business meeting to go over past successes and future opportunities for the pound and to see what your goal was for your Livonia pound, so I knew how much I could help the dogs. I mean, I never was given any guidelines or rules. You can't break something that you don't know is there. I mean, I've been told, you have the green light, you're doing a great job. If you want to feed the dogs water in the morning, that's fine. Just text me if you can, and then I'll go down and do my job.
But to be honest with you, we talked that Friday, and so I told you my decision will be made after the weekend. I will get with you on Monday or Tuesday. But before the weekend was over, you already had on social media criticizing myself and the town employees.
And you've seen my nose
on the decision that you already knew what was going to be made. So we really thought about giving you a chance until that moment there when you decided to go back on social media and make those comments.
Well, let me just tell you, Mayor, I did print out the only 2 Facebook posts I posted. When anybody else posts, this is freedom of speech. I have nothing to do with that. I can't control other people's thoughts, feelings, or actions on the matter, especially when so many people care so deeply for animals. The 2 posts I did post, and I didn't actually post those Facebook posts, and I have the day till way after Monday when you said you were going to give me another chance. And you called me and I wouldn't work with you. In my timeline, and on my phone records, the only time I spoke to you was the Tuesday when you called and asked me, to turn in my key and move on. I asked you 2 things on that day you called me. Is there room for compromise on both sides where we can keep this program together? Please let me talk. Keep this program together and do this for the dogs. And you said, no, ma'am, there's not. And I said, okay, can this not go above this in front of the city council where they can hear both sides and see if they feel it's the right decision being made and vote on it? No, ma'am, they don't need to know. That's the 2 things you said to me on the phone. So I knew, I couldn't come back.
I just told you that on the phone, that you couldn't come back.
But I asked twice to open an opportunity and an olive branch to let's,
We sat down and we gave you an opportunity.
No, I didn't have an opportunity, honestly, to say anything that day. Like I said, it was more of an attack than what I had the meeting set for. In the meeting, like I said, I felt attacked. I was told I wasn't normal for spending so much time for the dogs. My personal life was brought into it by Ms. Drago, that I need to be home taking care of my husband and making friends more, that she's tying me down there before, and nobody should spend that much time with animals. And then you told me to turn the key in and move on. That Tuesday you called me and I asked you those questions, and I sat on it for almost 2 weeks before I did anything. And like I said, my Facebook time and point out that I printed can show you that was way after the point that you're saying that you were graciously going to give me another chance, but I blew it on social media, Facebook.
You didn't help it out. You did not help
Well, I
the
can
situation.
show, if they'd like to see the Facebook messages, there's nothing derogatory. It was me thanking the people in the town of Livonia and other supporters that have supported me and the Pound Dogs for almost a year. And sadly, 'cause people have been asking me and other people, why are you not at the pound? Why don't we see your Jeep taking care of the dogs anymore down there? I just put it out there for them to know why, and sadly, I couldn't be there any longer. And but thanking them for the.
Wrap things up now, Ms. Shields, please.
Sure can. In closing, I hope we can bring this back to what it's supposed to be about. When you operate a pound or a shelter, the dogs, getting them adopted in good homes instead of euthanizing, working together for one goal, which is the dogs. Give them the most humane chance they can have being at the pound. They don't ask to be there. It's not their fault. They can't pick their humans. So why not do the best we can do, especially if you have somebody with the passion and the experience, willing to do it for free and not asking for a dime in return or reimbursement for anything I've ever done out of my own pocket, because I choose to do that for the dogs. I've done that. That's been my passion and what I've done for 6 years. My career, I don't have that anymore because I choose to do this instead. It's rewarding in other ways. I want to thank you, Mayor, Council, and citizens of Livonia for your support and time. And
Thank you
I
for
wish
your
you couldn't
comments
do.
also. Appreciate everybody's everybody understanding today here. Appreciate your quietness, and for this time, I would ask that if you want to stay, you're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We have to move on. If you don't want to stay, this is the end of this issue. There won't be any more discussion on this. So thank you all. If you want to leave now, you're welcome to leave. Now you're welcome to leave.